Hi everyone, we're back in the shop today. I'm going to show you some new pieces that we have in, and I'm going to build it up so you can see how I style it, what I use, maybe why I've chosen things, although sometimes there's no rhyme nor reason to it, so we'll see how that goes. The first thing that we're going to look at today is a new table into the shop, so I can show you what it looks like now, and then you'll see me build up the layers and the interest to, firstly to style it in the shop, but more importantly for us to take photographs for Instagram. So here's the table that we're looking at. Really nice long console, and you can see it's got lettering across the top of it. It's made from an old sign. Beautiful colours. And today we're going to use a backdrop of these giant doors. I like to try to keep some of the noise out of the photos. I like to build up the layers and things like that and interest. It's really tricky to get an Instagram post just right. And then obviously you've got to hope that the algorithm's in your favour and people will actually be able to see it. But it needs to have enough interest to stop somebody in their tracks and stop them scrolling and just look at the image properly. So I could just take a few photos like this. This is what I actually want to show off today, is this table. If I took a photo just like that, I don't think it's going to get much traction at all. So let's see what the first few steps are. Now here I've pulled the camera back a little bit so that you can watch what I'm doing. I think one of the first things I need to do is sort out up on these doors. It's too much for big blank space and it just looks a little bit random, so it needs to look kind of like it would in somebody's house, that somebody could imagine it in their own house. So let's start. As you saw in the last video, I like to do things in pairs. We don't have a pair of anything quite big enough for this big console. The majority of French mirrors are portrait, and obviously this would lend itself to something more landscape. Hello, Steve. Off he goes. So what we've done is a pair of something, but we don't have any paintings big enough. We certainly don't have a pair of mirrors. That's like hen's teeth. So I'm going to work with these big gilt frames to give everything on the background a little bit more presence. So there's the next step, a pair of gilt frames put up. They're quite tatty. We've not worked on them yet. If we are going to work on them, it's rare that we actually sell frames that are empty like this. We quite often save them for artwork that is not framed because everything sells a lot better in a frame, but they look a little bit empty and random there, but you can see how it's added the interest. So now what I'm going to do is put paintings in the middle of these frames, and as I said, we didn't have any paintings big enough, so putting the frames around it just helps with the scale. Short person issues. No. Short person issues. I'm going to need a stool. I'm going to pop them up and come back so you can see what it looks like. There you go. So there are the frames with some really lovely landscape oils inside them. So you can see some of the symmetry, although nothing quite matches, but so long as it's around about there. And now we're going to do a little bit of dressing on the table, but bearing in mind that the table is the main star of the show in this. Now Steve's going to lift some really heavy candlesticks onto there, so that could be over to him. The other point to note with something like this is because it's so long, it makes it a lot more difficult to photograph. So we'll see how I'm going to manage to do that afterwards. Oh, one's in one side and out the other. Now here comes the bit that nobody ever sees, how ridiculously obsessive I am in making sure it's just right, like anyone else is going to notice. And I've just noticed the one on the left hand side is outside of the frame that way, and the one this side is inside. That has to change. Let's get those candles lit. Okay, I'm quite pleased with how this is looking, and you can see it's quite a big difference from the main star of the show that is the table. I would normally put something in the middle, something, I might try something, I might not, because I obviously need to photograph the lettering on the top. But when you do a shot from here, the candlesticks have helped and they don't detract from the lettering on the top, so I can still get the shot. There's quite a big expanse underneath the table. I'm not sure if I'm going to put anything there or not yet. I'm going to have a play around and see. I'm going to try a few bits and then you can have a look and then see what I decide is the final result. So here you can see the finished result. I haven't taken the photos yet. I'll insert the photos afterwards so you can see how it turns out. I did actually add something in the middle. It just needed some height and flow through the middle. It looked a little bit bare there, but when I do the close-ups of the console top, I'll take that down. And look how perfectly the champagne crates fit just about underneath, which, oh, dusty from carrying everything, is perfect. So if somebody had this in their hallway, and you can fit the champagne crates underneath, then you could put all your shoes in there, hats and coats, stuff for your dog, all sorts of things like that. It's a catch-all on the top. You can have your keys, you name it. So it's really important for us to show people how to use antiques in a more modern setting, give them a modern use for things rather than just something looking pretty. Although there are lots of things that do just sit and look pretty, but if there's a practical use for it, it makes it a lot better. So there you go, just step back. You can see the finished result from what looked a really bare setup there. And now I'll get on and take some photos. That will be our Instagram post this evening, but I'll insert the photos that I take in this video. Hi everyone, it's the day after. The Instagram posted really well yesterday, so that's great. And today we're going to be styling this little rustic cupboard that you saw in last week's video, but also this really nice armoire. The doors have been chicken wired so that you can see inside. It would have originally have had mirror. It's really, really nice, kind of shabby black paint. I'm going to do a bit of a different styling technique on this today. I'm going to try to do more blocky things. You saw in some of our buffet decors last week that we kind of stacked it high, done either rustic or lots and lots of pale ceramics and that kind of thing. So this is a different way to do it, and it's going to be more blocky. Woo, Amanda! She's going to be helping me in a bit with a really heavy mirror, I suspect, although I need to find the right mirror for the space. But I'm going to start with doing this black armoire. I've already selected the pieces, but you can watch me do it. Excuse the noise of Stephen working. It's quite nice to put something paler inside a darker background. Here comes Manda again. Run, run! And she's got her driver in her hand as well. So it's going to get even noisier. I mean, and then there's been customers in and out this morning, so I'm going to try and get on with this a bit quicker. The last piece of this puzzle are some little white cubbies with some shells inside, so it's nice bright white, and it's putting a collection of things together. So although there's kind of pairs of things on the bottom shelf, pile of books on the top, this is going to bring it alive with a good bit of white and a lot more interest. There you go. I'll take you in closer and give you a little look, but we've still got to style this little cupboard to its side as well. And then that would be one complete picture together with both of these pieces of furniture in it. There you go. You can see now the chicken wire properly and all the details in the armoire. Excuse Stephen's noise. There you go, all the shells in the cubbies there. I also like using coral as well. The books in the top are rag books that we've just done in little bundles together with some really nice thick string. It's a great look. So I'll now go about finding the right things to go above that little cupboard. And then I'll do the same as yesterday, where I will show you the photos that I take for Instagram at the end. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do, deciding what goes above here, because obviously, as I said yesterday, I want to bring up the height of this because that looks quite shocking with not very nice wall behind it. So I'm going to measure the width. Then I'm going to go around the shop, measuring all the mirrors and deciding which one would be best to go above here. As you can see, we chose the quite grungy mirror that was the last one that you saw in the clips of me going around the shop, looking at what all the choices were and which one would be the best fit. I mean, not only is this almost exactly the right width, it's a good height to fill up the gap to make it work more with the armoire, but also the look of the mirror. So I'm just going to do a typical thing and put up a couple of demijohns to add a little bit of reflection and to balance it, because obviously there's a fair bit in the armoire. I'm just going to put a little bit on top of the cupboards. Now I think it's good to take the photos. Take you in for a close-up. And there you go. See, the colour works quite well. And you can see all the reflection in the demijohns. It's a really, really nice sunny day today. So again, I'll insert the photos that I take at the end of this. Hi everyone, I'm just signing off for this video. I only ended up styling 2 shots for you. I thought the video was getting quite long enough, so I hope you enjoy it. I do have some bits and pieces of footage left from our last trip to France to get you caught up on where we are with the renovation as we're beginning to prepare for our first trip of the year. And of course, we will be filming for Chateau DIY whilst we're there, so exciting and entirely terrifying. So I've potentially only got one more video before we go, so there could be a little break. Or if you like these styling videos, then I can definitely do another styling or video in the shop before we go. So I'll gauge how well this one goes. There's always potential to do that before we travel again. Hope you've enjoyed.